Welcome to the BEC podcast. My name is Rasmus Bæk, and today with me, Debora Jille from the Netherlands. Debora, welcome to you.
Thank you.
Debora, there's no secret that you and I have been talking quite a lot the last 1.5 years. It all ended out with an article coming out just before the European Championship about basically mental health care. You stepping forward, telling your brave story, tough story. How has the last couple of days for you been, actually?
Ooh, that's a good question. I was still pretty nervous to put it out. Actually, we talked about it a few times. What would be a great timing to actually put it out in the open? And the last days have been, I would say, good. I've got a lot of messages about the article, from a lot of different people at home, even at the tournament here. People coming to me like, "That's a great story, well done." So that actually means a lot to me that people are reading it and that they appreciate the effort put into it, the article, because we did put quite some effort in it.
Especially you did.
Yeah. I added some things here and there which I thought were important to share. So it's been a good couple of days.
Yeah. Are you surprised about the reactions and the number of them?
Maybe the number of them. I was expecting some response for sure, but I also got response from players that I normally don't hang out with or talk with too often. So that was actually pretty nice that they could find themselves in the article and took the time to send me a message or come to me. So that actually meant a lot.
But it also meant that they took the time to read it. And I remember we spoke about it in Scotland back in the days, where you said, and we talked about if just one person would read it and think, okay, maybe there's something I need to think about here. It almost feels like that reaction has already taken place. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it already reached more people than I expected, actually. So it's win-win in my opinion. I think it turned out to be a great story, and the response has been very, very good. So I'm really happy about that.
We spoke to Ru. You know that. I know. You know. And he said that he's also very proud. You would also see it on social media, but social media is one thing, but it's also nice to hear it, of course, in speaking. How is it to now know that it's not you and Ruben's story, of course your family's story, but people can relate to Ruben because they've seen him before. Now it's not your story anymore only, but it's a shared one.
Yes, I think it's different, of course, because it almost felt like a secret. But of course you don't have to share everything about yourself on social media, but I think it's a good thing that this is out, and I actually feel a bit more free, maybe even. That it's not just me and my family and my brother knowing about mental health issues. And I think it's also very important that someone goes out with a story like this and opens up about it, because there are still a lot of players that I know of that probably struggle with a lot of the same things or can relate a lot with the things that I wrote down. So I think it's a great step into making the subject and the topic a little more easy to talk about. Yeah.
Debora, it's no secret. It's more than a year ago we actually made the first draft of that article. Almost 2 years ago we had the talk, basically. But due to different circumstances for you, due to COVID, we didn't see the point of publishing it. But how do you feel today? Because it's been a while now.
Mm-hmm. It's been a while, and I read it a few weeks ago when you sent it to me again, and it almost felt like a different person was talking at that point in time. So I think that's a huge step for me to say that about myself talking. I think I'm a lot further than I was on that day, and I'm very much more comfortable with my issues. And of course, it's still there. It's not going away that easy, but it's much more controlled, and I feel much more happy than I was at that time. So that's a good thing.
But Debora, for people suffering with healthcare, mental health care issues, you are also aware that there might be setbacks along the way. What do you do to make those setbacks smaller, because avoiding it might not be an option for the rest of the life? What do you do to minimize the setbacks and the duration of the setbacks?
Avoiding is definitely impossible. That's the first thing. That's what I did for a long time, but that will only drag you down. So to make them shorter, because setbacks, they always come, and I still have them a lot of times, I can say. But to make them like controlled and comfortable, step one, I think, is accepting that it is part of you and you will have setbacks, that you're not scared of them. To make them shorter, that's a good question. I think being honest is very, very important. Have a good group of friends around you is very important. I found some friends that can either relate or can either talk me out of it. So that's helped me a lot, just to talk about it. And if you're feeling down, just talk about it. That's so important. It doesn't make any sense to keep it in. I did it for a long time. But now when I feel like there's a setback coming, I just open up about it and talk about it with my coach or my friends or my family or my psychologist. And we try to find a way to get through it. Yeah.
Psychologist, of course, that's a tool. So is the coach. I assume that most people watching our podcast are into badminton in some way, and of course have a coach. But if the psychologist is more the way to work with it, how would you actually encourage people to seek that first contact to a psychologist?
Yeah, that's pretty hard actually. I've had a number of psychologists, and it took me a while to find a right one that I could really trust and open up about it. It's a big step, I would say, to step to a psychologist, because then you're feeling that something's wrong with you. At least I felt it that way. I felt a bit weak maybe, but I've learned that showing weakness can be your biggest strength at some point. So stepping to a psychologist is just something I encourage so much, because he has helped me a lot, just in the way of thinking, handling with stuff. And it's so important that if you cannot solve your problem yourself, that you find someone who can help you solve your problems.
As I said, we spoke to Ruben yesterday. He told a few of the episodes which he could relate to, and of course it involved you. When you are down in that deep black hole, for instance, not answering the messages from your parents for like 2 weeks, but still going on with your daily life, and your brother has no clue what's happening. Mm-hmm. How is it to be in that deep hole?
It's really, really hard. I would say it's like a coping mechanism of me was just continue, and don't tell anyone that you're not feeling well. Not even my parents, not even my brother. Just go to practice, do my thing, go back home, rest, and go to the second session. That has been a really hard period, because I was just handling my emotions all by myself, and I was not honest to my family even about it. So I think it was harder for them than it was for me, because I was just continuing my daily life, and my parents and my brother were just asking questions like, what's going on? And I couldn't really tell them what was going on, because I didn't know myself at that time. And I also felt that they couldn't help me, that I had to solve all my problems myself. So I felt like I pushed them away a bit, and that's of course not a great feeling. Pushing your own family away, that's really, really tough.
Ruben said also that you're not there yet as a family, and the question is, will you ever be? That's my question. That's not Ruben's. But knowing that you pushed your family aside, but knowing that they actually are still there, came back and came closer. What does that tell you?
Yeah, that of course means a lot to me, and that shows me that they have unconditional love for me, and I also have that for them, of course. Yeah, that's amazing, I think, and they really support us in every way they can, and they're so proud of us, and I know that. So yeah, that means a lot to me that they are still there and still, trying to help me get better and support me in my career. So.
One day you will not be the badminton player anymore. We spoke about that a few times already before. We often see that there might be some kind of an empty hall waiting for an athlete walking into that hall after their career. Do you feel more prepared for that emptiness and knowing that, okay, you've been literally down there, now you're definitely on the way up? Do you feel more prepared for these kind of things in the future now compared to before? Definitely.
I feel like I've been very close to quit badminton, just leave it all behind. So I feel like I am more prepared, and I know how it feels when your joy for your biggest hobby is going away, and you don't feel something. You don't feel that you have to do something or you want to do something, and I feel like I'm very much more prepared because I know how to cope with those feelings and to get through these times.
Debora, there's a difference between being angry, being sad, and being depressed. From your point of view, with your experience, where is that red line being crossed from being don't understand because that can be bad enough, being angry and sad to being depressed? Where did you know that you have crossed that red line between those three things?
I think the biggest thing was that I just didn't enjoy anything anymore. I didn't enjoy badminton. I didn't enjoy going on tournaments, which I used to enjoy a lot because playing tournaments is, I think, the best thing for badminton players. You can challenge yourself with the biggest players in the world and in Europe. So that's, for me, there was something I really enjoyed, and that was completely gone. The joy of going to practice completely gone. I didn't even enjoy hanging out with my friends. I didn't enjoy going to school. I basically didn't enjoy anything anymore. So, but the biggest thing for me was that I just, packing my bags for a tournament was a burden and not something I looked forward to anymore. And there was something for me to realize, wow, this is not good. What's going on? And I think that's also the point where I started to realize that I was not feeling that well for a longer period, and felt that I had to seek for support.
If you are a guy or a girl watching this podcast, maybe having that feeling that it's better to stay in bed than go out, how would you advise people to react?
That's, of course, a very hard question because it's different for every person, I would say. For me, just opening up about having these thoughts was a really big thing. Just telling one friend that I was not feeling well, that lifted a big weight off my shoulders already. And I think reaching out to this one friend can be a start, and then you feel like, okay, talking about it comforts me and makes me feel less bad about myself. I think that's very important, to find someone who you can really trust, that you can talk about it. And if you don't have that someone, there's always the internet and some people that are willing to listening to your story, or someone in the neighborhood, I don't know, that will definitely take you serious and maybe help you. And if they can't help you, they will put you in contact with someone that can help you.
And by the internet, I assume that you mean mental health organizations and so. Yeah. Debora, I'm very, very happy that you are happy that we got the story out. I hope that there's a lot of people being inspired by this. What would be the last but most important message you would like to send to people if they are struggling with mental health care?
Talk. That's basically the biggest thing that will probably help you in the right direction. I'm not a big talker myself. I'm very introverted and insecure, and I'm not the biggest talker. I hate asking for help. I want to solve everything myself. But there's some things that you cannot fix yourself. You need someone that is there to help you with your problems. So the biggest message I would say is talk and be honest.
Borah, thank you for sharing your story on behalf of all of us, and thank you very much for coming also to the podcast.
No problem, thank you.
And remember, if you are struggling with mental health care, you have a local national organizations, we strongly encourage you to reach out if you need help. And if you don't know if you need help, there's never such thing as a problem to ask. So please reach out if you don't feel well, and thank you for watching our podcast.